following Pulis at West Brom, there was Pardew, and then you get given the role. And you mentioned that element of looking at Tony Pulis and looking at these managers and seeing the amount of games that they've played. Did you feel like a sense of imposter syndrome going into that position? And how did you cope with that in terms of, okay, you're the one in charge now and you have to make certain decisions? I'm just interested on that concept, if that ever came into your brain during that period.
Yes, you are making decisions. Yes, you're open to this whole world of media. That's goes hand in hand with the role. But also you're making decisions, and you're making decisions right for the whole structure of the football club and the footballing side of what you're doing. You're making decisions on within the internal departments of the football club. Your hands over the team. And once you get that right for result on the Saturday, your then results sending ripples into the community. So you're in a unique position where you feel you're managing over such a multitude of people on different levels and different aspects. So that was something that was becoming a real and reality. But you try and prepare as best as you possibly can to do this, and everything you're doing it with an honest, open approach. And I think that's the bit where I was always trying to be true to myself and trying to say that everything I'm doing is for the goodness and the basis of the individual and the football club going forward. And that's always where I've always held that really at the forefront of all the meetings, everything that I'm doing is this benefiting the football club going forward. And I think that's the bit where I've always worked with and will continue to work with the individuals for the club going forward. And then with that, you hope you try and get as many results right as you possibly can, which then has a knock-on effect within the structure and the fan base of the football club going forward.
Again, on that time, did you maybe have to get good people around you as well? They like Jimmy Shan and other members of staff to support you with that process. And I'm more interested, you mentioned the culture and the community and how that kind of has a kind of a linear effect. During that time when you came in at West Brom, there was kind of a momentum towards the latter end. I think you went to Man United and won 1-0, and there was spells where you were picking up good results and you won Manager of the Month. Did you feel like something was happening there just because you based those values on, a sense of camaraderie and togetherness to try and change a bad situation into a positive one?
It was definitely a situation where there was a togetherness that we formed, a great bond within the club. And I think, that everybody knew my intentions and how I wanted to work, and they give people the freedom to work within their specific field and bring their expertise, because in anything for any football club to do well, there's so many departments that has to align. There's so many departments away from the football pitch that has to align in order to give you the best opportunity on the football pitch to bring that alignment into a physical focus and a physical being in terms of the results. What we did at West Brom was all those elements did align. We had a group of people behind the scenes staff really coming to the forefront and just working together as one. And we had a group of players that, the most important thing was for me was, the draw against Swansea. There was a different feel at the training ground at the Albion, because there was a different feel in the sense that I hadn't tasted defeats, and even though we drew 1-1, it was a positive because it stopped the rot. And I think the bit where we got lift off was where we went away to Old Trafford and we won 1-0 at Old Trafford, which ended up presenting Manchester City with a Premier League title. So when that was announced, but the big thing was there was a big discussion because it meant the blue half of Manchester got the title. But for me, the adulation was just seeing those players win again and feeling the winning feeling again as a group of men. That look and memory will always stand firm in my sight and in my heart, in seeing those players feel that. And of course, off the back of that, so you've had 2 games, you've picked up a draw against Swansea, you've picked up a win at Manchester United, then furthermore picked up. So then after the Manchester United, we end up drawing with Liverpool, Champions League finalists 2-2 at the Hawthorns. We go away to Newcastle, we win 1-0, Rafa Benitez. We drew 1-2 with Jurgen Klopp, Jose Mourinho, and then we beat 1-0 against Mauricio Pochettino. At Tottenham, we win 1-0. So incredibly, we, from being cut adrift, all of a sudden, we've got a chance of actually staying in the Premier League. But there was one thing that was outside of our control. Was on the Wednesday, there was a game at Swansea against Southampton, and we needed that game to finish in a 0-0 draw. That means we could take it to the last game against Crystal Palace. And we was the informed team. Of course, you know, it's well documented. I've got the Manager of the Month award in the Premier League. You know, you got this person what's had the first 5 games ever, 6 games of his managerial career in the Premier League, at one of the so-called lower clubs in the Premier League, and getting these results against these real big hitters in the Premier League. And the game on Wednesday night, Southampton won 1-0, which meant it ended West Bromwich Albion chance of survival, because I really feel if we had to go to Crystal Palace and get a run, we was on an incredible momentum, hadn't lost in 5 games, going into your 6th game, needing a result away at Palace. The momentum we had was incredible. So when that hit, that impacted the club, because on the Thursday, you know, it was confirmed. And then Friday, Saturday, we travelled to London, and then, you know, we ended up losing the game, Palace 2-0 the last game. But I credit the players, the staff and everything for the way they conducted themselves was incredible, because what we did was we restored pride within the football club. But after that, Christy, what happened with me was there was such public demand to give me the job or give me the opportunity to manage West Brom in the Championship. That's ultimately when my career sort of took off, because it went so well and the opportunity was given to me. And the opportunity was, I took the opportunity with both hands and just went on the experiences that I'd felt and seen as a player, a coach, other managers and coaches that I saw worked for, played for, and just tried to put them all in the melting pot and try and work. There's no specific formula for manager. It's the individual, each to their own. There's no specific blueprint that you've got to do this. It's just the experiences that you pick up, the nature, the feeling, the texture of football and playing, and you're just trying to apply it as best as you possibly can, including these multitude of people that you're working with on a day-to-day basis, and trying to find the tune. And I think that's the certainly one of the arts of managing.
Were you sad to leave West Brom? You mentioned, you know, throughout the podcast, in terms of, you know, that intrinsic drive, being a local lad, being inspired by the likes of Laurie Cunningham and those players in the 80s and 90s, and then kind of coming into your previous playing experience with West Brom. Were you sad to leave that from maybe a kind of an emotional point of view?
Yeah, obviously really sad to leave it at the time, because, you know, I felt that at the time the club had made a decision after 36 games. We was doing really, really well. And they made a decision, you know, which I learned now later down the line, they made the decision to try and bring another more experienced campaigner in. But the process, when I look back at it now, wasn't a well thought out process. So I ended up leaving the role and leaving the job. But something that we was on the crest of a wave of returning back to the Premier League. At the time, looking back at it now, it was the wrong decision for the club to make, because we lost a lot of ground and we stumbled, and then Aston Villa came through and took over at the time. So when I look back at it now, it probably weren't the most ideal time, but it is what it is, and it's football, it happens, and I won't be the first and it won't be the last. It's just you learn as an individual from it, and you try and take that with you for your next adventure, and you kind of learn. So really from it, as sad as I was to leave the club, I was quite proud in terms of my time at the football club as a player and as a manager, and addressing a situation that was pretty desperate at the time, and restoring some of the confidence and faith and the belief in the supporters and the structure of the football club.